The first Blue Reflection game was a shorter but sweet emotional JRPG story that held a special place in mine and many others' hearts thanks to its beautiful story, fun bonding mechanics, and of course, its magical girl flair that fills a much needed void in the JRPG genre for those who grew up watching the greats of magical girl anime. Many had hoped for a sequel, and we've been lucky enough to see that in the form of Blue Reflection Second Light, a sequel that sets out to build on the lore of the original and the recent anime, bringing in characters from both that was a real treat, while also in Gus tradition building on the mechanics from the first game, evolving bond events into dates, making its ether-based battle system a part of the transformation process, and most importantly, building and fixing many of the things that made the original flawed to build a new entry that will satisfy fans of the original, but also make it approachable to JRPG fans or those who like the cozy vibe of Gus games like Atelier. There's a memorable summer story to be found thanks to how far it goes in exploring the emotions of its new group of charming characters in this world that constantly gets built upon, and is one I want to play more with as it was a beautiful and magical JRPG experience. Blue Reflection's Second Light story and an extraordinary world begins with new protagonist and ordinary girl Ao on her way to summer school, where instead of arriving at class, she finds herself entering the classroom of a school on a deserted island, with no teachers or schoolwork in sight, but rather a small group of girls who have been doing what they can to get by. Ao is unique in that she's the only one who still has memories of the real world, with the others having lived in blissful ignorance before they realize they've lost their memories. As they begin to remember things, new areas appear on the island in the form of heartscapes that reveal their memories and begin to give clues on how they ended up there. And with plenty of girls to meet and learn about, Second Light's story begins with plenty of mystery surrounding it, with the magical powers residing in their rings a bonus as they set out to learn about how this world came to be and try and find a way back home. If you consider the original Blue Reflection, or even Gus game before Second Light Atelier Ryza 2, it's easy to see in its gameflow that Second Light takes influence from both of these things, with mechanics like crafting and bonding being adapted and improved to fit this new Blue Reflection that makes for a much bigger world with plenty more variety and a bigger hour count to match. My playtime for Second Light ended up being about 55 hours thanks to its story that spans many chapters, and in those chapters you'll find yourself partaking in what becomes a pretty consistent gameplay loop. But rather than feeling repetitive and forced at times like the first one, it's actually a lot of fun as it always leads to new ways to get to know its characters. Chapters usually begin requiring you to make something, whether it be an item using a simplified version of the synthesis you might see in Atelier, or a facility that creates a passive effect like raising XP or effects you can toggle on and off, with this building mechanic seemingly taking inspiration from Atelier's spin-off Nelke and the Legendary Alchemists. But where it begins to feel more Blue Reflection is how it lets you see plenty of events to bond with these girls. There are around 10 girls to meet in Second Light, ranging from new characters like Reina and Yuki, and also ones that tie the series in with cast members from the anime, protagonist Hinako from the first game, and even some girls who will eventually feature in the upcoming smartphone game, all with differing personalities and quirks to get to know while building the weird and wonderful things that will help make new memories in this strange world. The existence of these facilities make the bonding events in Second Light much more meaningful than the first, as they both help with gameplay thanks to their effects and the way they can raise talent levels and fragments to give passive boosts, but beyond that, it just felt better to unlock the many story events this way, as it felt like it had much more purpose than filling the point requirements given in the original. It's just much more interesting to bond over the recently built cafe than it is in the standard hallway of a regular school. So while I don't know how realistic it is that these girls would be able to build such complex things, it did help make this school in a strange world have a certain atmosphere that made for the perfect area to discover new characters and get to know all the lovely girls in this strange world. The school isn't the only place you'll spend time in Second Light though, with the gorgeous heartscapes also being crucial to uncovering the truth about this world, but in order to progress you'll have to do more than just gather materials for building, which is where Second Light's turn-based battle system comes in. If you've played the first game, you may recognize a few parts of Second Light's system in the form of its knockbacks and the transformation sequences that now occur within battle if you're ether ether level gets high enough. But since it's been a while since the first game, Second Light's revised system almost felt brand new, with it still featuring the timeline from the first game but using it in a new and cool way that makes it even more interesting in this entry. The constantly increasing ether gauge serves both as how turns are decided and as points to use skills with turns divided on the 5 different gauges that allows you to gradually gain 1,000 ether points as you get past each one, with 1,000 being the minimum cost of an attack in this system that involves using and storing these points. In action, it usually ended up being that your character gets to the first point with 1,000 ether, then uses a skill, then gets to the second one and does either a stronger attack or 2 smaller ones, and by the third one, your character has transformed and has access to some stronger moves, all while balancing elements, items, your support character, and knockdowns to give you some extra moves in this system that keeps you on your toes as you try to keep ether going up and combos going. And while it sounds all very complex, it's surprisingly easy to pick up in action and fun to play with since it's a different way to think about battles, and I kind of want to try it in hard mode because I had so much fun strategizing how I would use my ether in it. To top things off, in some of the bigger fights, an active battle element appears where you have to use good timing to take down a foe one-on-one style, which was exciting as it reminded me of some of the scenes from the anime, and is also home to some of Second Light's coolest battle animations if you get your timing right. It kinda reminded me of rhythm games too, in the way you had to use its combos and dodging at the right time, so it was a bit of nice spice to add into battles, and while I don't know if I'd want to see it in other Gust games, it worked as a replacement for some of the special attacks in the big battles of the first one, and always felt cool to watch the girls fight this way, especially with the many cool attacks in between. The battles have a good balance of being fast and turn-based at the same time, but since some of its foes had some good challenge, I found myself usually returning to the school once or twice per exhibition, where I was able to add other parts of Second Light's gameplay to my own gameplay loop that made me really fall in love with the world thanks to all of the things it has you doing. Aside from crafting elements and putting facilities to use, this often meant going on dates with the girls around the school that I'd lovingly decorated, and provided a good change of pace as the girls walked around, and it gave you conversation choices that kept these moments feeling involved while being generally amusing thanks to the different personalities of each one of them. It's not just about enjoying these girls' personalities though, although characters like the energetic Yuki and the intriguing Uta make it very easy to do so, but they're also the way to get all-important stat boosts in the talents menu, along with generally satisfying the type of player who loves seeing events in Gust games and bonding mechanics. And as that type of person and someone who just finished the anime, I loved being able to learn a bunch about these girls, and with having plenty of talent levels to unlock, you can expect to see plenty with your favorites that should be good news to those who liked the bonding events in the original. Finally, there are also regular side quests to look forward to in Second Light. They're kindly sorted by what type of task you'll need to do for them that makes it easy to choose if you want to craft, fight, or see a story moment at that time that makes it easy to play how you want. There was one type of quest I wasn't so fond of though, mostly because it's the only type of quest that you essentially get forced into doing for certain recipes you need, which were its stealth quests, with the quests themselves not being so bad, but being a bit finicky thanks to all the things you had to hide behind and all the enemies you had to dodge, but I think I felt this stronger as they had to be done. I can't totally complain though, as they often led to nice events and being able to continue the main story, and it was also a nice way to see some of Ryza 2's many exploration mechanics and some new ones added being used in unique ways here too. One thing for sure is that there's plenty of variety to be found in Second Light's mechanics, whether you're into crafting, sneaking, fighting, or exploring vast areas alone or with your favorite characters, that meant each play session always felt very colorful and full of a lot of different things. It's great to see Gus once again improving their original mechanics, and its more recent ones that get me excited as usual to see what they'll do next in this series and in general soon, as all of them together in Second Light made it feel like a full and fun experience. Second Light clearly builds on many of Gust's best mechanics, from exploration to one-on-one battles, but one of my biggest concerns in Second Light was with the story, not so much with the storytelling itself, as I've had good experiences with the anime recently and really enjoyed Second Light's one from start to finish. More so, my initial concerns were with its English localization that left a bit to be desired at times in the first one. I'm very pleased to say that, as I'd hoped, Second Light continues the trend since Atelier Ryza of Gust and Koei Tecmo's localization animations continuing to improve. And while I did find a few things here and there that might have been the occasional lack of a comma or a slight misspelling that you could tell what the word was supposed to be, it was very occasional this time, and everything else was great and full of charm, allowing me to enjoy and keep immersed in the story just as much as other games. So if that's something you found distracting from the first one, you can rest easy knowing it's not as bad at all here, which is good as the game has an interesting story to tell. And that story was the thing that actually kept me coming back to Second Light, with its chapter structure allowing it to unfold at a good pace, and I loved the use of the field and the way it showed snippets of the memories before they were found inside the hardscapes that always made me curious and looked very cool stylistically. It was a great new take on the finding of fragments in the first one, and I loved how all these moments led towards things that built on the main story. And if you're someone who likes bonding mechanics, it's a really appealing story structure that lets you get to know its individuals and world as a whole in the story focused on emotions and moving forward in this strange place. The gorgeous atmosphere, character designs from Mel Kishida, and beautiful story of friendships growing will likely make it one of my favorites from this year, with all these things along with its engaging explorations and battles making for a special world that I want to keep learning more about, whether in New Game Plus or in the next game in the series. I loved its first game, I loved its anime, and most of all, I loved Blue Reflection's Second Light that has really cemented Blue Reflection as one of my favorite newer JRPG series. It takes all the parts that makes the first one good and expands on them in a way that makes everything feel much more meaningful. And if you're at all a fan of events in Gust games, this game is like a constant feast of them that offers plenty of hours of learning about these lovely girls that add color and meaning to this secluded school life. There's color in every part of its world thanks to better visuals, battle, and new crafting mechanics that keep everything varied and at a good pace, and make it easy to create your own gameplay loop that has you getting stronger all while enjoying these girls' personalities. And all in all, it's a very special series about emotions and magical girls that takes the 90s TV show premise I love and brings it into JRPG form in such a well executed way. And whether it's in the form of the upcoming mobile game, another anime, and hopefully another console game, I love that this series exists to be a JRPG dream for fans of this colorful and pretty theme, all while creating a world of emotions entirely of its own that makes for a beautiful story to experience. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried Blue Reflection's Second Light, and if you have, what did you think of it? You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below. Thank you to Koei Tecmo for the code, and until next time, thank you, bye!